When you are, say, a committed baseball or basketball or tennis player who becomes a parent, exactly how and when you can return to your sport hinges on your ability to fit the new baby into your routine. You've either got to have a supportive co parent or other trusted adult to look after said baby when you train and compete, or somehow be fortunate enough to have one of those unicorn babies who magically falls asleep on cue anytime, anywhere, and slumbers blissfully until your game or workout is done. But runners, they have other options. Only a few years into the surge in popularity of recreational running, jogging strollers hit the market, allowing parents to incorporate their babies into their workouts. The first models were rudimentary, bulky, and hard to maneuver, like strollers in general. But more than 40 years of advances in engineering meant that by the time the first of his four daughters was born in 2012, the Scotland-born Canadian-raised Texas transplant could get back to serious running almost immediately and without shirking his parenting responsibilities. The convenience was great. More importantly, though, was introducing his child to the sport he had been competing in since the age of 4, when he began running with his own dad. And very quickly, he found that he could do something with his own kids that his father had never imagined. He could break world records. Today is Friday, February 27th, 2026, and at the Katy Half Marathon this month in 2016, Calum Neff bested by more than 2 minutes the Guinness World Record for the fastest half marathon while pushing a stroller, in what would be the first of many such feats. I'm excited to share my interview with Cal, current world record holder in 3 stroller race distances and Canadian national record holder in the men's 50K, as well as a father of 4, soon to be 5, children. I'm your host, Running Up That Hillary, and you are listening to Today in Running History. It is Fueled Friday, which means that today's episode is sponsored by Fuel Goods, my go-to for all my running nutrition needs. I have been a subscriber to their bi-monthly runner box for nearly 4 years, and I just received the February March box. It came with 10 different products, but for the sake of time, today I'll show y'all 3 that I'm excited to try out this weekend. So first of all, we have this conditioning lip balm from Eco Lips in melon lemon flavor. I spent all of last week in Utah where the humidity was like negative 30%. And since returning to Texas, my skin and lips have been in full rehab mode. So I am super excited to try this one out. I also got 2 products from a company called Cadence, which also happens to be the fake name that I use for my daughter on social media. I got this Core 40 bar in peanut butter and jelly, which has 40 grams of carbs, and I will eat before my long run tomorrow. And then this Core 24 gel, which has 24 grams of carbs, and I will take along to eat mid-run. And then finally, I got this granola in honey oat from Kodiak, which will make a great post-run breakfast and has 16 grams of protein per serving. The Runner Box from Fuel Goods is such a great way to discover new brands, flavors, and products, and listeners of Today in Running History can save $10 off your first box by using my code Hillary10 at checkout. I'll go ahead and include the link and code in the episode description so y'all can check them out. Now let's talk about Calum Neff. Those who listen to this podcast or follow me on social media have heard me talk about how fortunate I feel to have been introduced to running at an early age, thanks to having a father who is a coach and a serious runner himself. In that way, I was like Calum Neff. We both started running because our dads ran, and we both competed in road races, cross country, and track from an early age. Unlike Cal, however, I did not start beating my dad in races before I turned 10 years old, or ever. Primarily a middle distance runner in high school who went on to compete at the University of Arkansas Little Rock and the University of Houston, Cal was a well-established mountain, trail, road, and ultramarathon racer by the time he married and started a family. The first of his 3 stroller world records were set with his second daughter, Holland, when she was just 1 year old, and happened at the Katy Half Marathon exactly 10 years ago this month. But instead of listening to me talk about that or any of his other records, let's hear it from Cal himself. All right, I am here with Cal Neff, the multi-time world record holder for different stroller run distances. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing?
I am fantastic. And listing your accolades and all of that, there's quite a bit to get into. So why don't you tell us how you got started in running in the first place?
Yeah, I guess my dad was a runner. My mom would take me to runs. We'd go to the classic fun runs, and my dad was doing marathons back, from the 80s onwards. So I grew up around it. I did my first race at the 1988 Cajun Cup 1K kids race when my dad was doing the 10K. And both me and that race are still going, which is
Wow.
pretty cool. And I've been back since to run that. So yeah, that was kind of my intro to putting a bib on, but I just kind of always found running to be very natural. Like it's never really been, I have those runs. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong,
Yeah.
people out there that just feel like you've never run in your life. I get it. And I've been to those low moments, but for sure for me, it's come pretty natural. So it just kind of progressed through youth track and doing it in school and kind of being my standout thing, like my talent. So it's like kind of my identity that people would know me by once that first race happened or the first run in gym class, that's where I shined. And yeah, I took that all the way through college. I ran for University of Houston. I loved the mile and the 800, sometimes the 5K cross country. And then found the trails after I got out of college. I was living in the Rockies up in Canada and just fell in love with that kind of new aspect of running. And now that's just such a huge thing. And now I own a trail running company. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that
Um,
was my next question is how and when did you get into the longer distances?
Yeah, like trail running's such a gateway because like I was going to these trail races. I remember my first one. It was called the Rundle's Revenge, and I smoked the 12 and a half K. It was like a one lap, and nobody cared. Like it was like course record or whatever, because there's people there all day doing
Mhm.
like 80K. So it was like
Yeah.
I was very quickly like overshadowed simply by the person that came last in the ultra, right? Because it was just like, oh my gosh, people are running so far. And that's just naturally led to, well, I want to be up there, and
Yeah.
competing in the more competitive events. So when I got transferred down from Canada with my job, I was going to do one last great Canadian adventure. So I signed up for the Canadian Death Race, which was 125 kilometers, had 17,000 feet of climbing mountains, and it was like the best 14 hours of my life. So I really enjoyed it, and that's still the longest really I've run to date. But I've done a lot of like in the 50K to 50-mile range.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
that's very cool. And what about road marathons? What was your first road marathon?
Yeah, well, talking about the move, like we moved from the Rockies, the mountains, trail to Houston, Texas. And it was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, I'd lived here before,
Yeah.
but came back to the concrete jungle and was like, well, I guess I'm going to be a road runner now, which was, appetizing to me because I hadn't
Yeah.
explored that since, being in college. And I signed up for the Houston Marathon since we were living right here. So that was my first marathon. I ran 2:35 and took it the very next year down to 2:22. So I made a really big jump and then have just been slowly taking minutes and seconds off that over the last, gosh, since that it's been 13 years, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna live in a place where, road running is the thing, you can't get a much better hometown race than the Houston Marathon.
Wow. I
So,
mean, looking at my results of just racing now all over the world since that first marathon, I've done 25 official finishes in the marathon. Um, Houston consistently puts out the best,
yeah.
and records and PRs and BQs and all of it. Like you can't get any better. And it's still small enough that it's fun to go
Yeah.
do it. And you get to be somebody or not just a number
Yeah.
there. And, I have a lot of athletes I coach now that go to these big world majors, and that's great. You check the star and everything, but it's just too busy. Like
Yeah.
it's too much now.
Yeah.
So we love it. We love the Houston Marathon weekend. It's just the best week in Houston.
Yeah. I was in town for Friday and then like Friday night and then Saturday
Right.
morning. I didn't run the race. I did Bandera.
That's right. I saw
The
you. I was
next
like,
day.
oh, we just missed each other again.
But I did come out there and then I think I'm about to sign up for next year because it's been two
Yeah,
years in a row that I've been out there for race weekend and not actually do the race. And
do
I'm
it.
so close. I'm like, I need to I need to actually do
Yeah, do
that.
it because it does fill up, and
Yeah.
they're one race that's pretty hard to get in once they are full.
And
But
you
I'm sorry.
paced
Tell
this
me how
year.
Bandera went. I really want to know.
Oh no. Bandera was great.
Yeah,
It was all about just completing the distance,
yeah,
enjoying the hill country, having a good time. Weather was perfect, beautiful scenery. It was tough, obviously, like it was a lot of climbing, but it was just a really fun experience. Like, and that was the goal all around.
awesome,
Like my 50K PR is in a much flatter place and I only missed it by 8 minutes. So I
cool.
was for
Yeah,
that kind of course, I was happy with that. So it was cool.
congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then you paced for Houston this year, right?
Yeah, I usually get called up in the last few weeks, like, hey, what are you gonna run? Is it around this time? And then I get linked up with usually one of the elite women that's coming in from out of town or out of the country. And this year I had Callie Thackeray Hogger, and I just watched her husband run 2:10, and he joined us as a pacer, and we had another pacer join us there, and she was kind of the fastest seed coming in. So they put us in touch, and yeah, we had a really fun, nice, smooth run with her for about 22 miles. And then I let her and her husband have their couples moment for the last few miles. I was peeling back, just saving my legs for an ultra coming up at the Black Canyon. And then Sarah Hall caught me and I had to
Yeah.
race her. So that was fun.
That's great. Not a lot of people can say that sentence. That's a pretty that's a pretty great experience.
Yeah, I let her have one at the marathon project during COVID. I was
Yeah.
pacing her, and I let her have her moment to shine. But this one, I was like, no, it's guns out. The 40-year-old masters are going for it. So it was fun. It was final
That's
two
great.
mile.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, and such cool pictures too
yeah,
of all y'all out there. Very
yeah,
cool. Now let's talk about stroller running.
yeah.
Is it a fair assumption that you did not start stroller running until you became a dad yourself? Is that
Correct.
a
Yeah, I
fair
didn't have like
Okay.
an empty. I've run with an empty stroller and I get the most awkward looks. So I
Yeah.
could drop the kid off at school and then run home.
Yeah.
It's
And
like
you have to
very
go home.
awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
No,
funny.
very naturally, yeah, I had my first daughter of four, Allie, and when we moved to Houston, found an old secondhand stroller at an REI. So it was like a new stroller that someone didn't know how to adjust the front wheel
Yeah.
mechanism and returned it because it had a drift. And I was like, okay, this thing's like perfect. And it was discounted like 50%. So yeah, we
Wow.
picked it up and just started having our like daddy daughter time at Memorial Park in Houston and just going to long runs out in the country. And it was just like this awesome way to connect with my daughter, and she loved it. And then number two came along and number three came along. So yeah,
Where
yeah,
did the idea of going after the world record at a few different distances come from? Was that like a popular record? It's not like it blows my mind. Like me pushing a stroller running is like 13-minute miles. Like I struggle with running with a stroller. So I didn't even realize how fast people could go with strollers.
yeah. Yeah, so there was a local 5K here in Katy, Texas, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like it just was like going to a race and not having to worry about what's the kid gonna do and
Yeah.
mom having to like get up early when I'm racing. So it's pretty natural, just like, well, I'm gonna get permission to run with the stroller and bring my kid and just have a fun morning. And the race directors deemed it like safer to actually start on the front of the line rather than the back, which is normal for
Yeah.
a stroller. And we ended up running under 16 minutes
Wow.
and 5K for that first one. And then the wheels like really started turning of like,
Huh.
okay, wait, what else is out there? Like if we can run a 15-minute something 5K, like what has somebody run? And then I started realizing that another guy I'm friends with, Michael Wardian, had set the marathon record at 2:35, I believe, or 2:39. It changed a couple times, but it was in the 2:30s. And yeah, so I was like, okay, well, I'll start with the half marathon record. And that was in February of 2016 with my
That was
middle
Katie
daughter.
as well, right?
Yeah, so the Katy Half Marathon was coming up, and I asked the race director, made sure all the the boxes were ticked as far as Guinness World Records certification went,
Yeah.
and they had the certified course, they had the proper timing, they had the people to witness it, and so we had the all the stipulations met, and we went for it and ran. It was actually right after Houston because it was February
Yeah.
of 2016. So I had just run kind of a frustrating Houston. My hamstring had tied up, so I think I ran 223 that year, like a frustrating 223. Like I
Yeah.
was really fit. I know that's annoying to say for people, but I limped it
You
in
know,
for
I
the
mean,
final.
you can only compare it to your own self and your expectations.
Yeah,
So,
so like I limped it in the final
yeah.
like 5K, like peg legging it for a 223. So I knew I was capable of more, and I
Yeah.
let that recover. And we went to the Katy Half Marathon and ran 1:11:27.
And what was the time to beat going into that? Because I'm
Yeah, it
sure
was
you had it
pretty
in mind.
close. I think it was around 112, or the official record was maybe 114. But the thing is like when you research, you realize some people didn't like get all the record
Yeah.
requirements, but they've done it. So
Yeah.
I
You
want to
want to
beat
get
all of
like
them.
all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to leave no question on the table that this record's mine. So yeah, we got the official and unofficial at 111. So that
That's
was
very
the
cool.
kickoff for the stroller career.
That's awesome. And then what came next? Because you did more with more kids. So
Yeah, I kept having kids. And so yeah, Allie was the oldest, and her younger sister now had a world record, which if you're a sister,
oh,
just
I
that's
am.
not gonna fly.
I can't imagine if my little sister got to be part of my dad's a runner. I cannot imagine him running with a jogging stroller when we were kids. I
Right?
don't even know if people did that really. But if he had, I cannot imagine my sister being the one that got to do that and not me.
Yeah. Yeah. So I found the Toronto Marathon, which was cool because it was kind of like going home where my mom grew up in Toronto. A lot of family up there, easy destination to go and see people. They have a great flat marathon in October, the waterfront.
Yeah.
So we lined it all up. And it was actually the Canadian Championships for the marathon that year. And Allie was the first Canadian woman across the line,
Wow,
which
that
was
is so cool.
cool.
How old was she at the time?
She was 4, so we're not talking
Wow.
like a
Yeah.
small kid.
Yeah.
Her knees were up, and
Yeah.
she took it all in. She remembers it.
That's so cool.
Thinking if we had like an infant, I don't know if it'd be fair, but yeah, probably under 230. But we ran 231, and we're like above the moon with that.
Yeah.
That was a huge day for us.
That's great. Do you know what the record was going into that one?
Again, I think Wardian had set up a strolling duel at the Route 66 marathon and actually got beat, but the guy that beat him didn't have all the paperwork in line and never got the official record. So they had run, I think it was like 235 or 233 before me,
Yeah.
unofficially. So we like smashed the official Guinness record, but we're a couple minutes under the unofficial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And then yeah, number 3 daughter
Yeah.
came.
That was like you can't stop there. You have more kids.
Yeah, and actually I went back to the Cajun Cup where I'd started running in 88, and I think it was the 30th anniversary of me running. Like it was
Wow.
so that was that. But I was pushing Maya, and it was we hit 5K in like under 16 minutes
And
on
this is for a 10K.
for a 10K. So
Okay.
we came through halfway on pace for the record and turned the corner at 5K into like a wall of wind. And if you ever push a stroller, there is nothing worse than a hill or wind. So we basically came to a standstill, and I'd missed the record with her for that one. But then I was really fit heading into the COVID year. I was supposed to go do all of the world majors in a single year. And I was ready to run probably under 218 at Tokyo, and literally about to get on the plane, they cancel it.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah. So I was like super fit, and the rodeo run was happening here in Houston. Another one of my favorites because they have a parade right after the race. So you actually, it's like the one time you have spectators at a run
That's
because
cool.
everyone's there for the rodeo. So put the Houston rodeo run on your list because it's a ton of fun. But we ended up winning that one outright.
And that
Maya
was a
won.
10K as well.
Yeah, and we
Okay.
ran this is probably the stoutest one. I know 231 is pretty good with the stroller, but we ran 31:40 for the 10K, which is almost my PR. Like
Yeah,
we just the
that's
day.
insane. That's great.
It was hot, it was humid, and got some rollers on the course, but I just like one of those every time I push the stroller, it's been like lock on zone in the
Yeah.
flow state. Like things are just happening like you wish and dream of in a race. And there's just something special about me pushing the stroller and pacing that
Yeah.
just brings out the best in me. So
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And I didn't realize. So when you originally told me about the three records and the three daughters, I didn't realize there was a fourth. So are there plans to go for another record?
Well, not only is there a fourth, but there's a fifth now coming. And
Oh,
it's a
you got to
boy.
keep going. You got to keep going.
Yeah.
You got to do 5K now.
Yeah, 5K.
Or
What's
pick a
interesting,
random distance. Like pick a
50K.
15K. Oh, 50K. Oh geez.
Yeah, let's go
Go for it.
ultra. I think the
Yeah.
boy needs the ultra
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, so we're finally getting a boy, which we're really excited about coming up here in July.
Oh, how cool.
And so then going to be getting that stroller back out
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about number 4? You got to get her a record too.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Yeah. We'll work on it.
Yeah, 5K, do a 15K, a 10 miler, they can be some of the random distances.
Yeah, it's interesting because I paced Kira D'Amato at Houston Marathon when she got the American record for the women's marathon for the US. And her other pacer, Silas, that was with me, he went on to break the mile world record with his kid recently. So
Wow.
the Kira D'Amato pacers are also stroller world
Yeah.
record holders, which is a weird thing.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, and
Very
he ran
cool.
really fast. I think he ran like 4:20 in the mile or something, like scary,
That's
like a little
insane.
bit like,
Was that on a track?
yeah.
And he was able to turn the
Yeah.
stroller that fast? That's insane.
Yeah, it
Like,
didn't come without its
wow.
scrutiny, that's for sure. Like,
Yeah.
questions of
Yeah.
safety going that quick, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that is crazy. And just as a mom myself, just thinking about my stroller running days and just it
Mm.
was like there was no such thing as an easy run with a stroller. Like for me, it I never got to the point where it was just an easy conversational thing. But I also didn't take my kids on all my runs. So I the people who are out there doing it, making it look easy, I'm sure do it a whole lot more than I did.
Yeah, I honestly miss it. I'm excited to get back to it. I think
Yeah.
2016 and onwards, like, were some of my strongest running years. And I think it was because of that stroller, like just the resistance it provided, the amount I was getting out just with my kids. Now it's like I have to balance kids and time and their time and my time and parent time and everything else. But when it was us together, it was like we are all going for a run
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if I can get that back. But I feel like even the last decade of running, I've fed off of that strength that I built from all the training with the stroller.
Yeah, you go without the kids and it's like, "Oh wow, like this
Yeah,
isn't so bad.
yeah,
I can use my arms."
yeah. No,
That's
it's pretty
great.
natural with it. I recommend like trying to be light when you're rushing. If you're your mom out there pushing the stroller or dad, like you can go one hand and you can swing the other, and you can have a pretty natural stride if you relax and kind of get in a good groove with it. So
People
it doesn't have
probably
to be.
ask, "What is your stroller recommendation?"
If you get the
Do you still have the secondhand one or did you
Oh
upgrade at
yeah,
some point?
I had like at one point I had a garage full of them, just all the different ones. But Thule Glide, and if you, my buddy just had his first boy, and he just got the Thule Glide in yesterday, and he sent me a picture of the tag, and it still has our names written on it with the records. So if you get the Thule Glide,
Oh,
you
how
get
cool.
a little memoir of our records on there. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Well, nothing will probably top that as far as looking ahead and things to be excited about. But aside having your son this summer, what are some running related things that are coming up in your world that you're excited about, either as a pacer or a race director, runner
Yeah.
yourself?
Yeah. So for my own running right now, getting ready for the Black Canyon 50K. I was supposed to do the 100K, which I've done the last 2 years, and I just realized like I don't really love the 100K. It's really long,
Yeah.
but I love 50K. So I was like, why am I torturing myself doing things I don't really want to do? And
Yeah.
so I dropped down to the 50K, and I'm really excited about that now. Like that fired me back up. So
That's fun.
that's
That's Arizona.
yeah, runs like north of Arizona, or north of Phoenix down towards Phoenix one way. And they'll have the 100K on Saturday. I'll do the 50K Sunday. Des Linden's doing the 50.
Yeah.
It's exciting. So there's a few people in there. And then I'm going to go do a race I've wanted. It's on my bucket list forever. And it kind of flies under the radar. But if you're kind of like an old school road ultra runner, it's like one of the classic test pieces that exists out there. Like everyone who's anyone knows the Strolling Gym 40 miler.
Okay.
It's a race in Tennessee put on by Laz, who does that crazy Barclays
Oh
Marathon,
yeah.
the last, big backyard last runner standing
Yeah.
stuff. So it's one of his events in Tennessee, and it's a 40-mile, really hilly road race.
Okay.
And the record is just under 6-minute miles for the whole thing.
Are you
So
going for the record?
I never am not going for the record. So yeah,
Awesome.
looking at that, and that fires me up to do a road ultra. I really like road ultras, which is kind
I've
of
never
rare.
done one.
Yeah, so like if you're in Texas, we have the Cowtown
Yeah.
50K, Dallas
Yeah.
50K. Um, the big one in the world is Comrades. Like if you're
Yep.
ever going to do an ultra, go to South Africa and do Comrades. It's pretty cool, like 50-ish mile
Yeah.
race. And I'll go back to Comrades next year for the down run because they alternate uphill and downhill years.
Oh wow.
It'll be the 100th year of that. So I'm really excited to go back to Comrades for my fourth there. And then, yeah, on the race directing side, we're putting on a ton of events, like one race every month, basically. We have one in 2 weeks coming up that actually has a ZZ Top tribute band playing.
Is that Rocky Raccoon or?
It's in LaGrange. It's a brand new event we
Oh,
started,
okay.
named after our company, Trot Trail Racing over Texas. And that's the ZZ Trot.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, and so people are just going to run at this beautiful park above the Colorado River, really up high, and listen to ZZ Top music.
How
Uh,
fun. What's the distance for that one?
we just have a 1 mile and a 5K, but we're doing a few different, like you do a 1 mile counterclockwise and a 1 mile clockwise, like
Oh,
different kind of time
interesting.
trial format style. And then we have some waves of the 5K, so it's a little bit unique spin on racing, almost like crit style bike racing.
Huh.
If people are aware of those different formats. So yeah, we're doing that, and then we have a 100-hour timed race coming up in February. So start on a Wednesday and go all the way to Sunday,
Phew.
and
That
people can keep going. But yeah, we
and
have some big ones. Our big ones are Brazos Bend,
okay, yeah.
really
Yeah.
popular, like Gator Park.
Yeah, I have a couple
And
of friends that are training for their first 50 miler for at Brazos Bend. So
yeah, it's
I'm
a
not doing
perfect
it this
place.
year, but they're excited that it's I heard it's pretty flat. Obviously,
Pancake.
you're
Yeah.
still running 50 miles, but
Yeah.
if you have to run 50 miles, doing it flat is probably gonna be
Yeah, and it's not a
appreciated.
technical trail. It's
Yeah.
almost like being at Memorial Park, like a kind of pathway system. So
Okay.
really cool first ultra experience to do. And then the one I never recommend anyone ever does, even though it's my race, the Habanero 100
Yeah.
in August.
Yeah, and
So
my editor and producer, Rob actually did that this summer. I think it
right,
might have been his first ultra.
mind blowing.
I'm not 100% sure. He's gonna edit this and be like, no, I've done like seven. But I know he hadn't done that before. And as somebody who has spent the last few summers training for marathons in Texas, like
Mhm.
my 20 milers just about kill me. I cannot even fathom like middle of the day that amount of
Yeah,
running
in
and
Texas,
yeah, in
high noon.
Texas, and it's what, August?
Yeah, and we start at noon.
Whew.
Yeah.
And do you run that one? Have you run that one? Or are you there
Why do you
as
think I bought it? I never
okay.
want to run that one ever. I just stand on the
Yeah.
start and finish line. Well,
Yeah.
do emergency response and everything else. So
Yeah. And then y'all have one in December too, right? You have a
the Brazos,
marathon.
so we have the Brazos 50 in April and then Brazos 100 in December, and we have
Okay.
smaller events. Which that's the thing, like about ultra running and trail companies is like our race. We have a 32-hour cutoff for the 100 mile in December, but
Oh,
we also have a half marathon that starts only like an hour and a half later.
yeah.
So technically, you have 30 and a half hours to do a half marathon. So if you're a person that needs over 6 hours to do your marathon, like you
Yeah.
could come to Brazos
That's cool.
Bend and do our marathon distance. And we are literally there all day, all night, and all the next day. So if you were someone ever, being cut off by road races or chasing the cutoffs,
Yeah.
the trail community is just awesome for that. It's really welcoming to anybody. And we celebrate the last runner just as much as the first, you know. So it's a really cool community that to be part of.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I love that because I as someone like very much in the middle of everything, I have people that I don't usually run with, but that I will hang out with that are the super fast people.
Yeah.
And then all the way to the very back of the pack and finding those communities in those areas where every single pace is appreciated is such an important part of the running world.
Yeah, we'd love to have you out at one of our trot races. We have
Yeah.
a new one we're starting in Galveston in October.
Ooh.
That's gonna be a really cool coastal run. And
Oh,
then
very cool. What's the
another one.
distance?
We'll have everything, all the way up to probably 100K. So
Wow.
still about to launch it, so stay tuned on that one.
All right. Well, very cool. I just have one final question.
Uh,
Just as a running history podcast, what is something in the world of running history, figures, people that you find interesting or have looked up to in your running journey?
Yeah, well, I heard you had just had Jeff Galloway on, which is so cool because my dad used Galloway method for his own marathon training in the 80s. And I have his original book that he used
Wow.
for training. And yeah, it lost all the binding off the sides. It's stuffed in this manila envelope. But we actually went to a running store in Canada when I want to say I was nine or 10. So it was like in mid 90s. And he was there signing books. And I have like that original book signed off by him. So that's just
Wow.
really cool to have that connection.
That is
There's
so cool.
yeah, yeah. So we'll keep it there because that's a kind of relevant one to your podcast this time around.
Yeah, that's
Um,
awesome. And that's I love that you got started. It sounds like you and you're much faster than I am, but it sounds like our background in running is really similar
yeah,
because I was the same growing up watching my dad as a runner, and my first 5K was the same sort of, hey,
right.
you want to come do this road race? I'm training for a marathon, and we can go do this. And I'm like, I don't know what a 5K is. Let's do it.
That's cool to
And
hear. I've been so delicate with my
yeah,
daughters running. Like I just don't like they know what I've done.
yeah.
They know the accolades. They've been on the finish line of breaking world records and stuff. So definitely it's come with some pressure being my kid, and I
Yeah,
just really relax about that. And there's times to push and there's times to not.
for
But
sure.
they're in the last even just like 2 months, all of a sudden they're just like starting to want to do it. And
That's
that's just really
cool.
cool. Like they're all talking about joining track at school.
Wow,
And
that's awesome.
maybe it's because of boys, maybe it's because of something, friends and whatever. But that's amazing. Like even run club is starting to trickle into schools, like the such a popular thing now to have
I love
these
that.
social clubs that kind of run,
Yeah,
and that's kind of trickling into the school system, which is really interesting to see. And I'm just excited to hear that they're finding their own way into running.
that's so cool. I actually met my best friend on the track team. She was
There you
not
go.
a great not a great athlete, but she came out just to meet people, and
Yeah.
we had very different experiences, but ended up best friends. We were in each other's weddings, and we talk
Yeah.
almost daily, all these years later. So it's
Uh,
it's
nice.
it's just such a great thing. And I remember being in cross country, and it was like such a niche thing. Like it was not a
Yeah.
popular thing. I love
No.
that the sport has gotten to the point where it is more of a mainstream thing, and people aren't as, put off by the idea of running.
Yeah, yeah, and like as a parent, it's like all you can really hope for is that
Yeah.
they like go to a place that they'll have like good influences and good friends coming out of it, and being somewhat physically active and healthy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like you're doing it right.
Oh,
Four, soon to be
trying.
five kids following in your footsteps, but allowing them to, forge their own path, do it at their own pace, and that's all we can ask for.
Yeah. Well,
Awesome.
thanks so much for having me on. What do you have coming up next? I'm always interested
Ooh.
to.
What do I have coming up next? I'm doing the Austin Half Marathon with Team Spy
Nice.
Belt here in a couple
Yeah,
weeks. I have a 15K out in Salt Lake City because I'm going to be there for work. So
lovely
I'm
spot.
doing. I don't think I've ever run a 15K, so I don't. I'm just like thinking time wise
PR,
close enough
immediate
to a
PR.
to a 10 miler. I don't know if they have snow on the ground at any given time, or if that's one of the places where it snows and melts and snows and
Yeah.
melts. So I don't
Salt
really.
Lake's usually okay. They
Yeah,
get these inversions, keeps it pretty warm on the
yeah,
valley side, but
yeah.
yeah, at least you'll get
So
a PR.
Yeah.
First time you do a distance.
Exactly. Yeah. Automatic PR. And then I'm doing the London Marathon. So
Ooh.
that's the big one that's coming up. So,
Yeah, that's still on my world major list. And I remember watching my dad do that again, and that was around 91. I just
oh.
distinctly remember the
Mhm.
silver aluminum space blankets at the
Yeah,
end.
very
That was
cool.
kind of classic of the London Marathon.
Yeah, so I'm excited. It'll be cool. It'll be an awesome experience. And yeah, more to come. I really do want to get more into trail running, and with y'all being most of y'all's races within 3 hours of where I live, I definitely need to look at
Yeah.
more. And I will
Well,
also link that in the episode description,
okay,
trail
cool.
running
Yeah,
over
we have one
Texas.
real close to you in May. We're in Bastrop.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Wildflower, and it's a Mother's Day race, and we get a
Ooh.
special Mother's Day medal for all the moms out there.
Oh,
So
very cool.
yeah, it's a fun one.
Awesome. Well, I will link that in the episode description. And I really appreciate you coming on and talking about all your experiences as a runner.
Yeah, thanks so much.
So now that Cal has a fourth daughter plus a son on the way, I cannot wait to see what stroller records he sets next. He owns the 10K half marathon and full marathon ones, so I feel like maybe a 10 miler or a 15K would make sense. But who knows? Cal also holds the Canadian record for the 50K, so maybe that's a distance he can tackle with the stroller. That is all I have for y'all today. Thank you so much for continuing to tune in. Please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, rate 5 stars, and then send this episode to a parent you know who understands how damn hard it is to run while pushing a stroller. Then join me next time for a very special episode about the national championship one woman won 5 years into what would become a decade-long battle with a rare cancer, and a conversation with her widower who recalls just how brave and resilient she remained throughout. I'm your host, Running Up That Hillary, and this has been Today in Running History. Intro. All right, let's get this over here. Hopefully I don't mess this part up. Oh, shit. Am I wearing the wrong color? Wait, no, that was just that sweater, right? All right. And then finally, I got this granola in honey. Jesus. So, all right, then here's the interview. Hey, Cal. Oh, hey, Hillary. So you ran with a stroller. I sure did. Yep, I have some children. All right, there we go. I'm gonna put this away because I'm still holding. There was no good time for me to put away the box. Let's just go ahead and do that. Whew. My hair does not look good today. That's all right. There's the interview.